for generations.
Dates in the Bible don't quite match the marriage certificate. Uh-oh.
And you have found us, America's Family History Show, Extreme Genes, and ExtremeGenes.com. It is Fisher here, your radio root sleuth on the program where we shake your family tree and watch the nuts fall out. This segment is brought to you by RootsMagic.com. Hey, welcome to the show today. Glad to have you along. We have a great guest coming up a little bit later from FamilySearch.org. His name is Steve Waters. He's going to tell you how you can help actually get records in your area digitized. You know, the people from FamilySearch have been sending out photo teams for decades and decades. Before World War II, they started this thing. And now they're going to give you a chance to get into some of the smaller archives that may be where you are. All they need to know is what do they got and where are they? So we'll get into that in about 9 minutes. Then later in the show, we're going to talk to a guy from Brigham City, Utah. His name is Barr Cannon. And Barr was in New Zealand and ran across an interesting piece of furniture. And from that furniture was a secret compartment. Yeah, with family records in them from England. Wait till you hear this story. You're going to love it. That's later on in the show. But right now, let's check in with Boston and our good friend David Allen Lambert, the chief genealogist for the New England Historic Genealogical Society and AmericanAncestors.org. Hello, David.
Hello, and welcome back to the New World.
Let me tell you, this was like time zone whiplash for me. You know, 7 time zones to get from my place to Germany. And then I was just getting adjusted when it was time to come back. So it was a lot of fun, though. Took my grandkids and my daughter to see the church where my third great-grandfather, my only German ancestor who came to America, where he was christened in 1768. And that was an incredible thing. Visited the military cemetery in Luxembourg by the grave of General Patton and his people. Very moving. And some other experiences that were just off the charts. Boy, it's fun to go over there, isn't it?
It really is, and it's a great way to discover your past. But as we'll find out next week, sometimes you're not always going to find where your ancestor is buried.
Exactly. And this was a complete shocker to me, the way things are done in not only Germany, but several other European countries. So we're going to do a whole segment on that next week, because I think for many people listening, it's going to be a surprise what's going on with graves over in Europe.
It really will. Speaking of going over to Europe, I want to wish a happy 109th birthday to Robert Wayton, who just celebrated his birthday in March. I was born in 1908 when King Edward VII was on the throne. Now, that's the great-grandfather of the present queen. Here's the catch. Robert got a card from her when he turned 100, but doesn't want one from her now. Do you want to know why, Fish?
Because what?
Because she always looks so miserable when she's doing official duties. And that's a quote right from Robert himself. So an official Extreme Genes happy birthday to the oldest man in Britain who doesn't want a card from his queen.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Let us spin the wheel of wherever and see where our next story should come from. And the answer is Switzerland. Do we have a story from Switzerland today, David?
Oh, we do. A Swiss court has just jumped in and prevented a family from giving their baby the name of Jay.
What's wrong with Jay?
Well, it's not that it's J-A-Y. It's J period, just J.
J. Okay.
And that's because they want to honor the daughter's great-grandparents, Johanna and Joseph. So they can not pick one or the other. But the court said that it is not in the best interest of the child because the pronunciation would vary and there would be a problem later for her in life.
What? Is this a first name, a middle name? What is it?
This is the child's middle name.
Middle name.
And then, of course, the judge says it will be a problem because people would then put a period after it.
This is crazy. So it's a middle name. They're worried about the people putting a period after it. And so the name court is saying, oh, no, you can't do that. That's kind of crazy. You know, Harry S. Truman, his grandparents had S for their names, both of them. So they gave him the middle initial S with no period. So that they each thought that the middle name was for them, which is funny. I think he did okay.
I think he did. He did get into office after FDR died, but he did get reelected.
Yes, it seemed to work even on the ballot. All right, next story. What do you have?
Well, this story is going to bring us back to England again, to London at Meantime Brewery, where their brewmaster Syrian Giblin had a special thing done for him.
Okay.
He was tested with 23andMe, and his genetics testing showed receptors that dictate he had a inclination to like bitter or sweet flavors. So they've developed a beer that is based upon his receptors in his DNA that he would like. And sure enough, he liked it. So cheers to the brewmaster and his autosomal DNA.
There you go.
Our next story is about a teenager who has kind of gone viral on the internet. Some of you may have heard about Ren Blank, who received a special gift from her grandpa, which were 3 notebooks that he filled with memories about every time they hung out for the first few years of her life. You think about all the memories you've had with your own grandchildren,
Sure.
Fish. And
yeah, it made me think about that as soon as I read that. We should probably go and record everything we did in Germany last week with the grandkids, 3 of them.
exactly. And it just really harkens back to keeping a journal.
Yeah.
Our blogger spotlight this week is on Amie Bowser Tennant, who runs the blog thegenealogyreporter.com. She has recently written about the War of 1812 pension files. I'm sure many of you have probably used them or have heard about FGS's efforts to raise money to actually have the pensions online. The money has been raised. It's halfway digitized, available on Fold 3 for free. And Amie tells you how to best utilize these records for your genealogy. So hats off to Amie, and take a peek at thegenealogyreporter.com and follow her blog.
Excellent.
I just want to toss out that if you have not been on to AmericanAncestors.org, take a peek at our website. You can sign up as a free guest member, but if you want to join, use the checkout code EXTREME and you'll save $20.
All right. Thanks so much, David. And coming up next, we're going to talk to Steve Waters from FamilySearch.org as we continue our march through the big 3 to find out some of the things that are happening right now. And Steve's going to tell us how you can get some of the smaller archives in your area to have their records digitized and put online for free. That's coming up in 3 minutes on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show.
Did you know that FamilySearch Family Tree is available through a powerful new mobile app experience? That's right. Now you can view, edit, and even add information to ancestors in your family tree whenever and wherever you are. You no longer need to wait to get home or make a date with your computer to view or update your family tree. You can add details to your tree when visiting with family or when capturing details from a trip to the cemetery. You can share new family history discoveries from classroom settings. You can even make the most of your time when waiting for doctor appointments or car repairs. Get started today by downloading the free FamilySearch Family Tree app to your Apple or Android device. Visit FamilySearch.org/tree app to get the Family Tree app for free. Exploring and expanding your family tree has never been more convenient. Visit FamilySearch.org/tree app to download the FamilySearch Family Tree mobile app today.
Legacy Tree Genealogist is a proud sponsor of Extreme Genes. Based in Salt Lake City, Utah, near the world's largest family history library, we've been working with genealogists all over the globe since 2004 to track down records, find your ancestors, and the stories that bring your legacy to life. We also analyze DNA test results, help you join lineage societies, and find missing cousins or heirs to property. Legacy Tree is the recommended research partner of MyHeritage.com and is the world's highest client-rated genealogy firm. Call us toll-free at 1-800-818-1476. Call now or register online to get a free estimate. Learn from our free genealogy tips on our blog at legacytree.com/blog. Even experienced researchers can benefit from our proven and experienced staff of specialists who can bring new approaches to old problems. Legacy Tree Genealogists. We do the research. You enjoy the discoveries. legacytree.com.
Extreme Genes is sponsored in part by 23andme.com, a personalized genetic service that helps you understand what your 23 pairs of chromosomes, your DNA, say about you. 23andme.com gives you a snapshot view of your DNA with more than 60 detailed reports on your health, traits, and ancestry, plus tools to explore and compare your DNA with family and friends. 23andme.com is the first and only genetic service available directly to you that includes reports that meet FDA standards. Here's how it works. Order your DNA kit from 23andme.com. Provide your saliva sample from home and mail it back to a CLIA-certified lab. Then you'll be notified when your reports are ready online. You'll also receive ongoing reports as new genetic discoveries are made and as 23andme.com is able to clear new reports through the FDA. See why more than 1 million people are experiencing their genetics with 23andme.com. Order your DNA kit today at 23andme.com.
All right, welcome back to America's Family History Show, Extreme Genes and extremegenes.com. It is Fisher here, your radio root sleuth. And this segment is brought to you by FamilySearch.org. And oddly enough, we got somebody from FamilySearch.org on the line with us right now. He's Steve Waters. He is the Archives Relations Guy for FamilySearch. And this is a great opportunity for anybody interested in getting some local materials digitized in their own hometown. Maybe it's in a barn, maybe it's in a courthouse, wherever it may be. Hi, Steve. How are you?
Good. How are you, Scott?
Great. This sounds like a great opportunity for people. In my experience running around the country, I've run into places like in Fairfield County, Connecticut. They have a collection in boxes of these old documents relating to one of my families. I was able to actually hold the documents and take pictures of them myself, but I was shocked to think that these have not been digitized. There are a lot of people who descend from these folks because some of those records dated back to the 1600s. So you know there are a lot of descendants, but there's got to be stashes of these things all around the country. What is your project? How does it work? And how can Extreme Genes Genies help you?
Well, I was going to give you a little bit of background on FamilySearch for those who don't know who we are. We've been around a long time. We began in 1894, so we're a 123-year-old organization, and we just happen to be the world's largest nonprofit family history organization in the world, dedicated to preserving and providing access to historic records. People can't go out and find their family history and learn about their heritage without those records. We currently provide free online access to 1.2 billion with a B digital images of records, and we add about 150 million more every year. You can check us out at FamilySearch.org if you'd like. Right now, we have about 300 full-time digital camera teams around the world, and those camera teams are taking pictures of about 150 million digital records every year.
Wow. And then those, in turn, get indexed ultimately by other volunteers, right?
Some of them get indexed, some of them don't. We're taking pictures at a more rapid rate than we can index, but we're putting those online, and if they're not indexed, they're at least viewable.
Sure.
And my primary responsibility is to keep those cameras busy.
Yeah.
And so I've got to go out and find genealogically significant record collections and then get the permission of the record custodian for us to come in and do the work.
So could this include maybe a family that has a collection that goes back several generations of their own material?
We're not in a position to do every single record in the world, and so our current structure is set up to do these larger record sets. There are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of records. Typically, these would be records that would reside at a courthouse or a museum or some entity like that that has a large collection rather than a personal collection that somebody's got under their bed. You're going to see in the future for those kind of collections, in fact, we're seeing it more and more, that people can take pictures of them with their cell phones and other different devices, and eventually they'll be able to upload those and we'll be able to use them.
Oh, wow. That's exciting. So then you go from 50 cameras in North America to thousands potentially.
Potentially. That's kind of the vision. We can't be all places and all things to all people, so we're trying to empower people to to do it themselves. We've been taking pictures of records in the United States since 1938, so 79 years. And I think we largely focused on the low-lying fruit, to go to the most obvious places, the state archives and the larger municipal repositories. And we've done a lot of the records there, and now we're finding that we need to concentrate more on the next level down. There are well over 3,000 counties in the United States, and I couldn't even begin to tell you how many towns or cities there are. But many of these communities, they have courthouses, churches, libraries, museums, and other places where valuable records are housed. And we think there's probably over 20,000 record repositories in the U.S. that at some level need assistance preserving and providing access to their records. And the problem is there's only 4 people on my team.
Right.
So we simply don't know where all of these repositories are or who they are or who the record custodians are. And so we need community help.
Okay. So if I'm listening in Iowa or in Virginia or in Texas, how do I go about helping FamilySearch to do this?
Well, there's a couple different ways you can do it. One is if you know somebody in your network of family or friends that's a record custodian, or perhaps know somebody who knows somebody, or somebody who understands how decisions are made. A lot of these record permissions are done at a governmental level. So we're looking to network with people who can give permission or can make a decision or influence. And if you know any of those people in your circle of family or friends, providing an introduction or a tip may be very helpful to us. Another thing is if you know of a collection of records that is sizable and it's genealogically significant and it hasn't been taken care of yet, perhaps like the one you mentioned in Connecticut, we'd like to know about it. Tell us about it. Or you could go one step further and actually create a simple inventory of what those records are. One of the things we have to do, because we've been taking pictures of records for so long, is any opportunity that comes our way, we have to check and make sure it wasn't one we already did. Quite often I'll find somebody has an exciting collection, but we did take pictures of it 37 years ago or 40 years ago. And so we have to do a check like that, and that's where an inventory of the records can be helpful to us as well. And then if we are so lucky as to get an opportunity in your area, have permission given to us to come in and do the digitization, there may be some opportunities to volunteer at that level. Sometimes documents need to be prepared before they can be photographed. They need to be, fasteners need to be removed, or they need to be flattened or unfolded or organized. And local people can help do that. We're even finding more and more local people that are helping to man our cameras. We provide the equipment, the know-how, and the training, and they're volunteering their time and effort because of their interest in the records and their close proximity to the repository to actually man the camera and do the digitization of the records. So those are kind of 3 areas where somebody can get involved.
Now, I would imagine that you've had some experiences with this already. Any stories you can tell me about this?
I could tell you a whole bunch, but there's one that comes to mind that I think is particularly interesting, and it illustrates kind of this point. There was a woman from a small town that I had never heard of before contacted me, and she explained that many of the historic records from her town had been stashed away in an abandoned high school auditorium.
Ooh.
And these records had become wet because the building was not maintained, so the roof leaked. And kids that got bored walking down the street throwing rocks through the windows had made a nice little entrance for the birds to go in through the broken windows, and they'd created nice nests in these records. And this woman from that area was rightfully so concerned about these records, and it was just too big of a task for her to handle herself, so she called us. And I visited the area, and while I was there, the woman walked me down to her local courthouse where there were even more records. And years earlier, she'd been an elementary school teacher in that area, and just so happens that she had actually taught the local county judge there when he was a boy.
Oh, so, how convenient is that?
Yeah.
Right? Hello.
So she introduced me to the judge, who just happened to also be the custodian of these records, and I began to explain to him how we would like to help him preserve his records. And watching the conversation, she could tell that the judge just wasn't cooperating the way she wanted to.
He wasn't into it. What was his objection, or why was the wall up?
I think he sees somebody come from across the country, maybe in a shirt and tie, some highfalutin city boy that isn't from around those parts, and he was just a little standoffish. And so she jumped in and took over the conversation. She said something along the lines of, "George, this young man's come a long way to help you preserve your records, and you best listen to him and cooperate." And I watched this man just kind of cower and say, "Yes, ma'am," because he had the relationship and respect. This was a woman who had taught him in elementary school, and there's just...
Teachers do that, right?
Yeah.
You know. Wow.
So rest of the story's history. He gave us permission, and we did the work, preserved his records, and got them published online. And so the 2 points I guess I would bring out in this story is that without this woman and her relationship with the judge, one, I would never, ever have known about these records. Who would have ever thought to look for beautiful records in an abandoned high school?
Sure, yeah.
And two, I never would have gotten permission to photograph them except for the rapport that she had with this good judge. So I think that's what we're trying to replicate, is people who know records and have connections can really help with this work.
Boy, it sounds like it. What kind of records are we looking for specifically?
We can't photograph every record in the world. There's just too many. We're best suited to photograph sizable record collections. I'm talking probably tens of thousands or bigger. And we find that people doing family history research need records that identify people and connect them with people, places, dates, events. And so, for example, births, marriages, deaths, probates, wills, land, deed records, military, maybe naturalization and citizenship records, church records, and there may be some others, voter registrations, tax records, and so on. And
newspapers?
Newspapers we're not doing right now.
Okay.
Not that they're not incredibly important, but they're just so dang many of them, we had to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, so if somebody fits this picture that you've just created, what number should they call, or what website or email? How do they get in touch with you?
So they're welcome to go check out our website if they want to learn more about who we are, which is FamilySearch.org. And again, that's a free website. Or they can contact us by sending an email to preservation@FamilySearch.org, or call toll-free 1-844-326-4478.
Okay, and then they can either talk to somebody or leave a message, I would assume.
Yep, and then they may have to leave a message if there's only 4 of us, so if we're tied up, we'll be glad to call you back at the earliest convenience.
You know, I'm thinking, this could be a massive project, a great project for anybody wanting to get involved in preserving their community's records, but they're going to forget about this, right? They've heard a little visit that we've just had. I would just want to remind everybody, these contact points are going to be on our website, extremegenes.com. Do not forget about this. It's an important project that we're all going to benefit from. He's Steve Waters from FamilySearch.org. He's their U.S. Archives Relations guy. Thanks so much, Steve, for the time, and good luck with the project, and keep us informed on what more we can do to help.
Thanks, Scott.
And coming up next, we go out to Brigham City, Utah, to talk to a man named Barr Cannon. Barr was off in New Zealand and discovered a piece of furniture there that had a secret compartment with lots of family data hidden in the compartment concerning a family in England. You're going to want to hear the whole tale. It's coming up for you in 5 minutes on Extreme Genes, America's family history show, and extremegenes.com.
Scientific studies have proven that youth who know even a little bit about their family history perform better academically and have a greater sense of personal confidence and stability. Genealogy is its own incredible superpower that arms our children with super strength. But how do you get your child or grandchild interested in studying their family history? That kind of stuff is just for grandmas, right? Not anymore. ZapTheGrandmaGap.com leaps the generation gap in a single bound. Author Janet Hovorka provides you with useful and timely advice on helping the young people in your life become engaged in their own family history. Janet has an entire collection of books to inspire the young and the young at heart in fun, interactive ways. She also offers creative tips and advice on her blog and in her free weekly newsletter. Stop by ZapTheGrandmaGap.com today to sign up for Janet's free email newsletter with 52 weeks of easy tips, free downloads, and order your set of resource books and workbooks. Looking for an easy way to show off your family history and share it with your family? Family Chartmasters offers beautiful custom pedigree art pieces and inexpensive family reunion draft charts in any design or size that fits your needs. With a free consultation at FamilyChartmasters.com, you can get started creating a new family masterpiece. Family Chartmasters has over 11 years of experience in creating and printing family charts. They can print any style of genealogy chart from any genealogy file style and can create exactly what you're looking for. You'll work with a specialized and talented consultant whose goal is to make you happy. Decorative charts make fantastic gifts for all occasions. And with Family Chart Master's option of ordering duplicate charts at half price along with your original purchase at full price, you can afford to give a family heirloom to each member of your family. Contact Family Chart Masters today at FamilyChartMasters.com for your free consultation. Family Chart Masters will give the greatest care to your family history.
And welcome to America's Family History Show, Extreme Genes and ExtremeGenes.com. I am Fisher, your radio root sleuth, and this segment of our show is brought to you by 23andMe.com DNA. And as you know, over the years, I love to track down people's stories of discovery and the adventures those things can turn into. And we have another one of those adventurers on the phone with me right now from Brigham City, Utah. His name is Barr Cannon. Hi, Barr. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Scott.
You had quite the adventure with just buying a piece of antique furniture some time back. Why don't you get into that with us?
Well, actually, before we bought the furniture, my wife and I had gone to New Zealand as record preservation missionaries, and we were digitizing New Zealand probate records. We digitized well over 400,000 images during those 23 months.
Incredible.
While we were there, I had wanted a personal scanner, and there was a new one out, and I bought it. Had it shipped to New Zealand. 2 days after it arrived, I had a phone call from a Betty Riley that was asking if I could scan a book that she had found through her children that was about Armenians that lived in Iran. She wanted me to scan this book. It took several months to get the book to me. I had scanned it. I show up to deliver the book to her in another town several miles away, and as we walk in, and she says, the most incredible thing happened to us yesterday at my daughter's antique store. So we walk in, and on her coffee table was a whole pile of papers. There's pictures. She said, just yesterday, my daughter unwrapped a bookcase that she had purchased in England. She had gone to England earlier in the year, bought a whole bunch of antiques, put them on a shipping container, and sent them to Richmond, New Zealand, where she lived. She had taken many of them off and put them out on the floor, but this particular day she put a bookcase out, and it still had wrappings around it. She happened to see some people back in the back looking at this bookcase, and so she went back to see if she could help. And they said, oh, we saw the top of this, and if you look, you could just, it looks like you could pull the top up.
Huh.
And I pulled it up, and lo and behold, all these papers are in here.
From what era are we talking about here?
Well, I believe it was finally sealed up. Last time it was opened, it was probably in 1940s.
Wow. Okay. So it's been 70 some odd years.
It's been 70 years it's been sitting. It has, and it's taken us a lot of time to figure out what was in there. But she said, what should we do with these papers? And I said, you know, I just brought, by chance, my scanner that I just purchased just recently. And so that night, I scanned 120 pages.
Wow, that's a lot.
And that 120 pages, the part that was really exciting was a little card that was about 3 by 5 inches, and it had a picture of the Savior and Moses. Below it, it said that Samuel David had given this to his wife Harriet on their wedding in 1848.
Boy, that goes back.
It does. And on the back side of that card is, in very beautiful handwriting, 5 children's names, birthplaces, dates, and everything like that about those children.
Unbelievable.
As we searched through the rest of the papers, I found the birth certificate of Samuel David, 1814.
Birth certificate? Yeah. Was it a church record?
We're talking about a civil record made in 1814.
That's early. Unbelievable.
And there was pictures of grandchildren. the more exciting part for most genealogists is that there was evidently one of the 5 children had kept a lot of records and had recorded going back their parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and their families. Those pedigrees goes back to 1747.
That's fantastic. So what did you decide to do?
Well, we didn't know what to do with it, so we said, we've got to go back to work. So we went back to a town called Christchurch, several hours away, and we tried to figure out what to do with them. And we had made a contact with our church, and they said, well, if you find somebody that would care about it in their life, a descendant, we'd be happy to work with them. We got back, and one of the great guys at the archives, a real genealogist, Alan Turnicliffe, said, let me look at those. The next night at 2 o'clock in the morning, he writes to us and says, I found these things about this family. And here is a possibility of somebody that's still alive that might be a descendant. But the descendancy of this couple, the 5 children, one dies at 3, one dies at 20, 2 never marry, so only one child has any offspring.
Wow, so you're trying to look for the descendants of that child.
And that child has 4, 2 never marry, one has 2 daughters that never marry, one little thread going down, and it looked like we maybe had a brother and a sister born in 1966 and 1968 in England that might be the only descendants of that family.
Unbelievable. Were you able to find them?
For the next 6 months, I searched much like you did on some other records I've read about. How do you find them? I bought subscriptions to different places in England. Finally, I found 2 people that might be those. So we wrote to the man, Mark Calvert, no response. 3 months later, we had a friend go over and knock on his door, and he said, I'm going on vacation. I don't have time to talk to you. I'll respond when I get back. Didn't even say if he was the right person or not.
Huh. That leaves you hanging, doesn't it?
Another 2 months go by, and I write again, are you the right person? And he finally responds back and says, yes, I am the right person. So we sent to him all 129 pictures, 2 of which were his grandmother when she was like 3 and 13.
Oh, wow.
He said, I have never seen pictures of my grandmother before. We know nothing of my ancestors on that side except back to my grandfather, who was in the military. We know nothing beyond that.
Unbelievable.
So we got ready to come back from New Zealand to the United States. Before we came, I had found out the bookcase that had the compartment was up for sale, and I called and talked to him, and I said, maybe I should buy that. Here's what I can afford. And they said, okay, it's yours. So they delivered it to us. So that bookcase has gone from England to New Zealand to Utah, and it sits in our home now.
Unbelievable. Did you get to meet this guy at some point?
Well, that was the next fun thing. My wife said to me, what are we going to do with the papers now? Because we now have and own the papers.
So you had the original papers, but you had sent him scans. Is that what it was?
That's correct.
Okay.
We decided if they were the right people and they were willing to let us come, we would deliver it personally to them.
And did you have a good experience with them?
We had a tremendous experience with them.
From one end of the world all the way around to the other, you never got a chance to rest.
No, that's right.
He's Barr Cannon from Brigham City, Utah, made quite the discovery in New Zealand and took it all the way back to the United States and then on to England to the people it ultimately belonged to. Barr, so great to chat with you. Thanks so much, and keep up the good work.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Talk about a worldwide adventure. Tom Perry's next to talk preservation.
everybody needs a place of their own to plant their family tree, preferably one that no one else can mess with and only you can control. That perfect place is Roots Magic. Roots Magic has been a family history standard for years, and now Roots Magic 7 is on the market. It's an award-winning genealogical software program which makes researching, organizing, and sharing your family history easy. You can start from scratch or import data from other software, or even FamilySearch. Roots Magic also automatically finds records relating to your ancestors from MyHeritage, FamilySearch, and soon Ancestry and Find My Past. You can use it to create beautiful charts, reports, and books. And have you ever thought about making your own family history website? Roots Magic can make that happen too. And of course, there are free videos, guides, and technical support to help you along. Isn't it about time you planted your family tree? Whether you're a beginning genie or experienced professional, Roots Magic is the perfect tool for you.
Extreme Genes is sponsored in part by 23andme.com, a personalized genetic service that helps you understand what your 23 pairs of chromosomes, your DNA, say about you. 23andme.com gives you a snapshot view of your DNA with more than 60 detailed reports on your health, traits, and ancestry, plus tools to explore and compare your DNA with family and friends. 23andme.com is the first and only genetic service available directly to you that includes reports that meet FDA standards. Here's how it works. Order your DNA kit from 23andme.com. Provide your saliva sample from home and mail it back to a CLIA-certified lab. Then you'll be notified when your reports are ready online. You'll also receive ongoing reports as new genetic discoveries are made and as 23andme.com is able to clear new reports through the FDA. See why more than 1 million people are experiencing their genetics with 23andme.com. Order your DNA kit today at 23andme.com.
Well, genies, my personal family history researcher who sends me new information day and night has sent me some incredible new records and newspaper stories lately. Hi, it's Fisher, and the name of that researcher, by the way, is myheritage.com. It's the hardest working service in genealogy, looking for records of your family 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yes, even while you're sleeping. How does it work? MyHeritage uses hundreds of algorithms to match your ancestors to over 5 billion records from around the world, and with 97% accuracy. That means no more wasting time figuring out whether or not a match really is a match. I hear from listeners all the time who are shocked with how much information is accurately found and then passed along. And now MyHeritage will translate your ancestors' names into English or any other language you like from foreign records. In fact, it works with over 40 languages. No one else does this. Whether you're a beginner or seasoned researcher, you need myheritage.com. And welcome back to America's Family History Show, Extreme Genes and extremegenes.com. You know, we've got so many people joining the show now with so many things still to be preserved, and it's so great to have Tom Perry with us every week, the Preservation Authority. And this segment is brought to you by LegacyTree.com. Good to see you again, Tom.
Good to be seen.
And we got an email, of course, sent to asktom@tmcplace.com. This from Grant Hurst. And I don't know what Grant's doing, but he's got quite the stockpile going here. He wants to know what it will take for him to do 485 negatives of odd sizes, 2x2 or 2x4, dating from the 1930s, with several appearing to be silver nitrate. 890 35-millimeter negatives, which could be actually double that number. 43 slides, 82 8 and Super 8-millimeter 3-inch video reels or equivalents, 3 5.5-inch 8-millimeter video reels, 7 7.5-inch 8-millimeter video reels, 28 mini high 8 video cassettes, and 54 larger high 8 video cassettes about the size of the old audio cassettes. What is this guy doing, Tom?
I think he inherited a library or something, or an old film store. This is crazy. And I mean, he says he's got over 2,000 negatives, and then the caveat is he's got a limited budget.
Right, a limited budget.
It's like, okay, that's interesting. Like, is it a limited budget and you're buying an F-150 or a Cadillac?
Right. And you're going to have to obviously have no sleep for what, 3 months?
Oh, at least.
Yeah.
At least my staff, maybe not me. I don't get sleep anyway.
Okay, so how does somebody handle this? They've got all this material, whether it's just his or maybe from other members of the family, other branches, or friends in the neighborhood. obviously, that's a lot to take on for anybody to say, we know we need to get this done, but we can't afford to do all this. What do they do?
This is an awesome question, and we've been doing this for years, but never talked about it on the radio show, so this is a good time to bring it up. If you have a lot of things like this gentleman does, and like you mentioned, if it's several families getting together, if you're just helping people in your neighborhood, if you work at a family history society and they have a lot of people bring stuff in, what you can do is you can sign up for a wholesale account at shop.tmcplace.com, and you can save like 30% if you've got those kind of quantities. And the neat thing about that is if you are a society, you have two options. You can charge your people the normal price, which is very acceptable and affordable, and then take that money and invest it into other things. Like if you've got a lot coming in, then hey, put away some money and then one day buy a really high-end scanner for either your slides, your prints, or whatever, invest it back into the company. If you're an individual, take that money and put it into your reunion. So it gives you a lot of options where you can save a lot of money, help yourself, help your neighbors, do whatever you're going to do. And when you get to that point, we're happy to give you some recommendations of professional equipment. Because once you get into professional equipment, like what we rent out for people for like a week.
Right. For a reunion or something.
Exactly. If you're going to have a reunion, and like you've mentioned before, you have several people in your family, it's not going to cost that much because it's like, $300-400 a week to rent either the slide scanner or the photo scanner. But you can buy one for about $3,000 to $4,000. So if you're in the big numbers, it's going to be smart to do. If you're in just for a family reunion, there's no way you want to put out that kind of money. So you've got both options, actually.
Well, when you consider there might be, 40, 50 families involved in a reunion, they kick in $100 a piece, they can get an awful lot done. And then the organization owns the machine. And after that, it's pretty much free and clear, right?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, a few weeks ago when we had somebody that called that their son wanted to do these kind of things, this is a good way. Start out by getting a whole bunch of stuff together, rent a machine, and if you can see there's going to be a continuous income coming in from it, then you can go and buy a machine and you're not like, I've spent $4,000, now I need to get my money back. Just do it the right way. We can help you. And then, start a business. And the most important thing is you're out in other parts of the country making preservation possible for the people that are closer to you so they don't have to send it across.
Yeah, the shipping problem is the issue for a lot of people. Coming up next, let's talk about how we keep the stuff, the originals that we've been digitizing, so that they don't deteriorate further as well. Coming up in 3 minutes on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show.
Looking for an easy way to show off your family history and share it with your family? Family Chartmasters offers beautiful custom pedigree art pieces and inexpensive family reunion draft charts in any design or size that fits your needs. With a free consultation at FamilyChartmasters.com, you can get started creating a new family masterpiece. Family Chartmasters has over 11 years of experience in creating and printing family charts. They can print any style genealogy chart from any genealogy file and can create exactly what you're looking for. You'll work with a specialized and talented consultant whose goal is to make you happy. Decorative charts make fantastic gifts for all occasions. And with Family Chartmasters' option of ordering duplicate charts at half price along with your original purchase at full price, you can afford to give a family heirloom to each member of your family. Contact Family Chartmasters today at FamilyChartmasters.com for your free consultation. Family Chartmasters will give the greatest care to your family history.
When was the last time you heard your grandmother's voice or saw your family enjoying life back in the 1950s or 60s? If the reason is you haven't known what to do with your old recordings, videos, and films, here's your answer. The Multimedia Center in Salt Lake City.
We brought in a video project to the Multimedia Center, and overnight they duplicated it to DVD so we could meet our deadline.
The Multimedia Center, 2870 East, 3300 South, Salt Lake City. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6. Call 801-483-1717 or go to transferduplication.com.
Extreme Genes is sponsored in part by 23andme.com, a personalized genetic service that helps you understand what your 23 pairs of chromosomes, your DNA, say about you. 23andme.com gives you a snapshot view of your DNA with more than 60 detailed reports on your health, traits, and ancestry, plus tools to explore and compare your DNA with family and friends. 23andme.com is the first and only genetic service available directly to you that includes reports that meet FDA standards. Here's how it works. Order your DNA kit from 23andme.com. Provide your saliva sample from home and mail it back to a CLIA-certified lab. Then you'll be notified when your reports are ready online. You'll also receive ongoing reports as new genetic discoveries are made and as 23andme.com is able to clear new reports through the FDA. See why more than 1 million people are experiencing their genetics with 23andme.com. Order your DNA kit today at 23andme.com.
Genies, it's Fisher with exciting news. The Weekly Genie, the official newsletter of Extreme Genes, is here. It's your Monday morning briefing on what's happening in the world of genealogy and family history and on Extreme Genes. Get all the details of jaw-dropping stories of discovery and keep up with the latest techniques in family history research. Get to know more about your favorite Extreme Genes personalities, and it's free. Sign up for the Weekly Genie now at extremegenes.com or the Extreme Genes Facebook page. And when you do, you'll receive David Allen Lambert's Top 10 Tips for Beginning Genealogists from the Chief Genealogist of the New England Historic Genealogical Society. Sign up today for the Weekly Genie. Tom, you are going so 21st century here. I can't believe it. You're going to a Twitter account?
Yep, absolutely.
For your questions? All right. Hey, we're back. It's Fisher here. It's Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show, and extremegenes.com. We're talking preservation with Tom Perry from tmcplace.com. Of course, you can still email Tom with your questions at asktom@tmcplace.com. And you can tweet out to him at AskTomP. And, of course, that will allow people to actually, share questions and answers and maybe get community to actually contribute to answering some of the questions that come up.
And this would be great if we have somebody out in the middle of, Kansas someplace that wants something done locally and they don't know where to do it. And somebody else can say, oh, yeah, I've used XYZ and I was really happy with their work. So, spread the word. We want to know about people in your community that have done good jobs for you. So then people don't have to worry about the shipping thing, which we talked about in the first segment. They can go to a local place, whether, it's a society that's doing it, if it's a library, or if you're doing it on the side, you've got a little storefront. It's great because it's all about preservation. I don't care where they take it, as long as it's getting preserved and it's getting preserved correctly. That's what matters.
All right. Let's talk a little more about preserving the originals once you've gotten done digitizing them. And this is really important because I know a lot of people, don't they come into your place and say, okay, I got it all done. I'm throwing them out now because I need the space.
Yep, that really makes the hair stand up on the back of my neck.
And you don't have much, so that's really quite a feat.
It's very little. But so it's really important, especially if anything's optical. If you have negatives, you have slides, films, things are always getting better. We've just upgraded our film scanner to a new universal system that's even sharper and better before. It's just amazing how this thing's changed. And even though you're happy with your stuff, maybe your kids one day might want to update to, virtual reality or something, so you want to keep it. And a lot of people like to keep the old photographs, even though they've got scanned, just because they're kind of cool or warm and fuzzy things to have around. And there's a lot of ways you can do this. The best way is to get some paper that's archival paper, and they have different kinds. There's buffered paper, there's standard paper, all different kinds. Just go and Google it, and you can read the different kind of papers that are available, the different ways you can store them, and then choose what fits both your budget and what your end game is. And one thing that's really important that we've talked about before is you want to make sure once you've got these taken care of that they're stored in a good way. If you just put them in a cardboard box or something like that and seal it off, you sealed it off from dust and weather and things like that. However, mice love to get into things.
Oh, don't even. And that's awful.
They leave along bad presents that we don't like that can ruin things. So I recommend a sealed box. Even if you're in a high humidity area, I still recommend a sealed box. But what you want to do is you want to line it with styrofoam, which will actually act as an insulator for both the heat and the cold, and also from any corrosion, things like that. But you always want to still put it in a bag. And I'm not going to go into details. You can find it by just going on to Google and put in Extreme Genes in quotes, and then, rice or cheesecloth. And it'll tell you how to prepare your box.
Right, because all of our shows are now transcribed, so you can search with Extreme Genes in quotes and then put in whatever the term is you're looking for. I think there are at least 4 episodes where we talked about this.
Absolutely. And I love telling people about this because they come and ask me these questions. Hey, I want some more information on these tile Uden discs or whatever. Hey, just go Google it with Extreme Genes and you'll be able to find out what episodes we talked about, go into more detail, and it makes it really, really good to go back and listen to some of those old episodes.
All right, and once again, if you want to ask Tom a question question, you can email him at asktom@tmcplace.com, or you can tweet at AskTomP. And, of course, that way questions and answers are shared and the community gets involved. So I'm excited about how this is going to work for us.
Yeah, this should be awesome. This should help a lot of us.
All right. Great to see you again, Tom. Talk to you next week.
Sounds good. My pleasure.
And this segment has been brought to you by MyHeritage.com. Well, that's a wrap for this week. Thanks so much for joining us. By the way, don't forget to go to our website, ExtremeGenes.com. Get yourself signed up for our free weekly Genie newsletter. We got links to all kinds of fun stories, all kinds of great interviews you can link to there, all kinds of great information. And, of course, I'll do a column each week. Once in a while, we'll have a guest columnist, and it costs you nothing. And also follow us on our Facebook page. Talk to you again next week. And remember, as far as everyone knows, we're a nice, normal family.